Brought to you by America's Christian Credit Union.
All right, it's time for the mailbag. I love to hear your questions. They've been so good lately. Please keep writing in questions. Love to read your comments. It's so encouraging for me and James. James, what do we got?
Okay, the first question says, Kirk, why are we, American citizens, who did not personally create or even acquire anything from the creation of the national debt, responsible for work to help pay it back?
That's kind of a good question.
I know.
Why are we, who didn't create the debt, this was our grandfathers and great-great-great-great-grandfathers, and well, not even them. I mean, we could say that it was the bureaucrat politicians who've been spending too much money. This is their problem. Why should we inherit that debt? Well, because we're citizens of the United States. I mean, we could just say, okay, let's just have all of our creditors just call the debts right now and we'd just go bankrupt. I mean, we're like $32 trillion in debt. So that's an option. Let's just have China and other places confiscate the country and take it over. It's kind of like the way a bank would repo your car if you didn't pay off the debt. So I think the better option is we as a country, which we didn't build either, but I'm benefiting from the country that my great-grandfathers built and that the politicians have run, good or bad. And you got to take the good with the bad. And part of that is learning how to manage money correctly. Don't spend more than you make. And when you are in debt, make sure that it's wise debt and that you have a plan to pay it back. So I would say, no, let's pay off the debt because we continue to enjoy the benefits that we've also inherited from those who were here before us.
All right, the next question is a comment that was left on a previous episode. And this person said, hey, Kirk, maybe it just came out wrong, but Jesus did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it.
Oh, yes, correct. Jesus did say that. He said, I did not come to destroy the law. I came to fulfill it. Here, we got it in Matthew chapter 5 and 6. He said, don't misunderstand why I have come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or the writings of the prophets. He says, no, I came to accomplish their purpose. In fact, I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not even the smallest detail of God's law will disappear until its purpose is achieved. And its purpose has been achieved. Now, there's different aspects of God's law. You have moral law, you have civil law, you have religious temple ceremonial traditions, laws like you have laws like don't mix your fabrics like your wool and your cotton, don't eat shellfish, things like that, sacrifice bulls and goats. But those things were all pointing, the scriptures say, to a fulfillment in Jesus Christ, who becomes the once and for all blood sacrifice. He then becomes our high priest, and we don't need that old brick and mortar temple anymore, because now we are the temple of God with Jesus as the chief cornerstone, and we are like living stones forming a temple indwelled by the Holy Spirit, right? So in a sense, Jesus says, I came to fulfill the law, not to contradict it, not to destroy it, but he also came as the fulfillment and said, it is finished. Remember, Jesus did, in essence, destroy the old system to make room for the new. And here he's talking about covenants. Remember, he said that temple, which is the summary and representation of the whole old covenant. And he said that temple is going to be destroyed and not one stone is going to be left standing on another. Listen to what he says here in Hebrews, where he talks about these covenants, where he says, referring to the old system of laws and requirements with regard to pleasing God. He says, they serve in a system of worship that is only a copy. It's a shadow of the real one in heaven. And then he goes on to say, if the first covenant had been faultless, there would have been no need for a second covenant to replace it. But when God found fault with the people, he said, a day's coming when I'll make a new covenant, and it won't be like the old one. He said, this is a new covenant, and I'll put my law in their minds, and I'll write them on their hearts. I'll be their God, and they'll be my people. So Jesus said that which is old is wearing out, it's fading away, it's becoming obsolete. And it makes way for the new covenant. That's the old covenant that is being removed, and that was physically removed with the destruction of the temple in AD 70, and the new has come in. I like to think of it also as someone who's engaged to their girlfriend. You're now a fiance, and there is an expectation that you're going to get married, and there's all sorts of expectations and rules that govern your engagement. And that is, you're faithful, you're honest, you're pure. The marriage bed's going to be undefiled. But once you get married, you're not still keeping all of those same rules that were preparing you for marriage. There's new freedom in marriage with your loved one, but it doesn't contradict the old principles. You're still keeping the marriage bed pure, and you're not committing adultery. And all sorts of other things. So it's a fulfillment of everything the first was pointing to. But you're no longer still living in the old. You are enjoying the point of the old, which was to bring you into the new. And for us, that's referring to the new covenant, and Jesus did that. All right, next question.
All right, the next question is from somebody who says, my pastor thinks that Trump could be the Antichrist. Do you?
No, I don't think Trump is the Antichrist. You know, the word Antichrist is in the Bible a couple of times. And if I were to ask you to tell me where you think it is, where do you think the word Antichrist is? Most people think that it's in the book of Revelation, because that's the book that's got all of the crazy man of lawlessness, 666, mark of the beast, Antichrist. But actually, you're not going to find it there. You're going to find it in 1 John. And in 1 John, it talks about the person who says that Jesus Christ did not come in the flesh. He is Antichrist. So it's not the Antichrist, like it's one guy. It's the spirit, John talks about, of Antichrist. Anyone who says Christ did not come in the flesh. And he says, and there are many Antichrists, and the spirit of Antichrist is already here. John wrote this 2,000 years ago. So this is not talking about a political figure today. I don't believe. I believe this is talking about those who deny Christ and who he is, that he is God incarnate. And the spirit of that kind of individual is around today for sure. And it was also around 2,000 years ago, proliferating in those first century days where heresy was undermining the Christian faith. Next question.
The next question is, Kirk, do you like contemporary or traditional music at church? So I guess that would be like hymns compared to a rock concert.
I like both. I feel like I've expanded my palette musically. You know, I can tell you what I prefer, and it tends to be different depending on where the situation where I am. We talked about this in that previous dangerous conversation we had about the power and effect of music on us. So when I'm in church, I mean, I like me a good Chris Tomlin song. I love the hymns. I find if I had to pick or choose, I think I'd go with the hymns, because hymns are theologically rich. They remind me of the gospel and point me to the glory of God and my need for his grace. Whereas, you know, love me, love me, love me, God, you know, you're my daddy, you're my good father. I mean, I love Chris Tomlin. I love so many of these modern worship songs, but there's a reason why hymns have lasted 500 years. There's a reason why the Psalms in the Bible, which are war chants and songs of praise and thanksgiving to God, have lasted for thousands of years, and we're still reading the lyrics today. It's because they're deep, they're rich, they connect us throughout the generations. It brings historical integrity, and there is just something beautiful in the poetry of psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. Having said that, you know, I've got a great Maverick City song that I'm playing in my car right now. But if I had to pick or choose, I would go with something that inspires a sense of awe and gratitude and reverence.
I agree. All right, next question. The next question is, do you have a favorite worship song? If you do, please share.
I have many favorite worship songs. And again, it's depending on what I'm going through and what I'm at. There is a song by Chandler Moore called King of Kings. oh my goodness. It wrecks me when I listen to it. Turn it up loud and listen to it. It encapsulates the gospel and the birth of the new creation in Christ and the courage of the family of faith and the power of the gospel and the inevitable victory of the will of God. I absolutely love it. But my go-to is often Chris Rice and his albums of hymns. One's called Untitled Hymns, and the other one is a green album. I forgot the title, but I've got those just on repeat on my playlist. Hey, thanks so much for writing in your questions. I love answering them, and look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. James?
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified when the next episode comes out. And leave a comment in the comment section below so we can read that on a future episode. Have a good one.